Hi friends, are you ready to create some beautiful Christmas DIYs on a teeny tiny budget? If so, you've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Gwen. Welcome to At Home with Gigi. Now let's get started. For this project, we're going to be using this picture frame, and I picked this up from the thrift store. It was originally $2.99, and that day they were having half off certain items, so I was able to get it for half off score. I'm going to go ahead and remove this insert and give it one coat of Waverly chalk paint in the color Snow White. This frame has some beautiful details to it, and I really did hate to paint it, but the color of the frame just wouldn't work for this project. So I'm going to go back over it with my finger sander and just very lightly sand over those raised areas just to make them pop back out. And it will also have the added benefit of giving it a slightly worn, distressed look. Y'all, I've had this placemat for probably 12-13 years, literally. I bought it at Walmart for $1. Actually, I bought 4 of them, and I kept them knowing that one day I'd want to do something with them. Well, today is that day. I'm going to be adding it to our frame if you haven't figured that out yet. And because I had to remove the backing with all those knobs from the frame, I needed something to put in the back of the frame. So it's going to be this canvas, and this is from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just using it to trace out where I want to cut down my mat. We're going to be adding triple thick to our placemat. Now the idea behind this is I want to make our placemat look like it's an oil painting, and if you've never used triple thick before, it is gorgeous. I love it. It gives your surface a really almost glass-like appearance, really shiny. It's just beautiful. Now if I had this to do over again, and which I might because I have 3 more of these placemats, I would use a much smaller brush and much smaller and shorter brush strokes to really give it that authentic oil painting look. It still turns out beautiful, at least to me. You'll have to see it at the end when the light hits it, and it is just beautiful. I will tell you, I let this set for about 2 days to dry completely because I'm putting a very thick, heavy layer on here. And as you can see, it looks a little streaky and kind of bubbly, but when it dries, it's just a seamless, beautiful finish. It's very forgiving. We're going to add some embellishments to our frame, to 2 corners, and I'm going to be adding some greenery first. This came from Marshall's, I believe. I've had it for a very long time. It was originally intended to go on presents, but I never used it for that. I just used it for different projects, and I've removed the pine cones, added things to it, and now I've broken it down again, and we're going to be adding it as our base greenery for our frame. You can see I'm putting down a very generous layer of hot glue and just kind of holding it in place until it sets up. On top of the greenery, I'm just going to layer in some of these pine cones, some more bits and pieces of greenery, some of these berries that you see laying on the table. And y'all, I know you get tired of hearing about my never-ending bag of greenery. I really do have one. It's one of those really large bags. What is it? Extra large bags you can get at the Dollar Tree, or at least you used to be able to. I haven't seen them in a long time. But anyway, I have one that's like 3/4 of the way full. When I do a project like this, I just rifle through it, pull out what I need, because I've become a crazy hoarder of greenery. I never throw anything away that I might be able to use later. I'm just going to repeat the exact same process on the other corner, layering my greenery, pine cones, berries, other little bits and pieces of greenery. You don't have to mirror the image. If you decide to do this yourself, you can always make it different. Do a little bit less, do one corner of, really big over the top. Whatever you prefer, you can absolutely make this your own. And for less than $5, you have a beautiful piece to hang on your wall through the holidays. I'm just going to pop the placemat in the frame, and I will be using that canvas to hold it in place. And just, as you can see, I'm missing some of those tabs. I cannot find the little replacement tabs. I have a box of them somewhere in this crazy craft room, but I will just add a couple of pieces of tape to the back to hold everything in place until I find them. I am so happy with the way this picture turned out. The way the triple thick just makes the placemat just glow and just shine. It truly transformed it, at least to me it did, but I would love to know what your thoughts are. We are making a pizza pan DIY. I haven't done one in a while, don't know why, but we're doing one today. I took it outside and gave it, or attempted to give it a coat of my favorite Rust-Oleum white spray paint. It started raining on me, y'all, so I brought it in. See how splotchy it is? So I just went ahead and went around the inside just a bit with some of my Waverly chalk paint in the color Snow White. And then I'm coming back in with Waverly's chalk paint in Crimson. And I'm just going around the outer edge and then just on the inside of the pizza pan. Now, I'm not worrying about being too precise with the red paint on the inside because we're going to be covering the bottom of the pizza pan with one of those self-adhesive wall tiles from the Dollar Tree. Now, I want to make sure I cut this tile down to the right size and that it'll fit inside the pizza pan. And I'm going to be using this sign, and this came from the Dollar Tree as well. It fits perfectly in the bottom of a pizza pan from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to use it as my template, line it up as best I can, just trace around it, and then I'll use my scissors to cut it out. I want to take a moment to say thank you for subscribing to my channel. I truly appreciate you. I've received so many new subscribers, and to my wonderful returning subscribers, I truly appreciate each and every one of you and the wonderful support that you have been showing my channel through subscribing, your wonderful sweet comments, and I just appreciate it so much. You'll notice as you're trimming this down that the two pieces come apart, so I just throw the back piece away because I have no use for it. And then I'm going to go in and give it 3 coats of the Waverly chalk paint in the color Snow White, and I do let it dry in between each coat. I'm going to cut out the center of the tile, and I'm just using my X-Acto knife. Now, I've made sure I've put a brand new blade in here, and it's really sharp. And I'm just going to trace around just very carefully. I'm speeding this up so it doesn't take so long, but I just really took my time and just traced along the inside edge of this tile. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here on the screen. Now, to remove the centerpiece, I just very gently pushed on it to make sure that it was completely cut. If you find in any areas that it's still attached, I would use the tip of your X-Acto knife and just kind of go over it. I wouldn't pull on it or tug because this is pretty flimsy and it may tear your tile. For this next step, I'm going to be using the color Antique Gold from Folk Art and a stipple brush. And my intention was just to lightly brush over the raised area, you know, just make them pop out, give them a little more dimension. And as always, I get a little bit heavy-handed. And by the time I finished, to me, it looked muddy and I just was not happy with it. You will see later on that I did go back in off camera with some white paint and really tone the gold back. But as I'm sitting here editing, I'm realizing that I probably should not have done that. Spoiler alert, you'll see where I go back in off camera at the end of the video and make some changes, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to add a layer of Mod Podge to the bottom of the pizza pan and spread it out and let it dry because we're going to be decoupaging this gorgeous napkin right in the center of the pizza pan. And I found my napkin on eBay a couple of years ago. I actually got mine from Napkin World, but I just recently looked and I didn't see anything like this on Napkin World. So I went and typed in just snowman decoupage napkin, and it brought up one that's very similar to this. Not quite exactly like this one, but very, very similar. And y'all, they have some of the most beautiful napkins on there, and they're just really inexpensive. But anyway, I'm just cutting out one square, making sure I'm removing both of the plies, because this is a 3-ply napkin, so you do want to make sure you remove all of the plies and just use the very top one. Now, I am not going to trim off the excess napkin because that tile is going to cover everything up. So I'm just going to go ahead and center it up as best I can, put my parchment sheet on top, and use my iron on very low heat and just move it around over the surface of the napkin until it reactivates that Mod Podge and it causes your napkin to adhere to the pizza pan or whatever your surface may be. And then I'm just going to go in with this never-ending tube of E6000. I don't even know where I got this big, huge thing, but I'm still trying to use it up. But anyway, it's so thick and goopy, I'm just going to dot it all the way around the pizza pan, and then I've got a popsicle stick over there. I'm going to go back and then just spread it out with that popsicle stick. Now, you can certainly use hot glue. I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue for immediate hold, but I was afraid that this tile might pop off with just using hot glue, because I do like to store my projects out in my shed when the season's over with, so I did want it to hold up until next year, because I love to reuse my projects from year to year, or sometimes I will give them away or donate them, and I want to make sure they're not going to fall apart. I'm going to make sure that this tile is centered up as best I can, because I want to get as much of my snowman's face in the center of this opening as possible. And then when I put the hot glue, I'm just pressing down to make sure that it's going to stay in place. To give our sign a more polished, finished look, I'm going to hot glue some of this decorative trim, and I think this came from Walmart. I've had it for so long, y'all, I don't really remember, but I think Walmart. But anyway, just using a little bit of hot glue, I'm just going to continue to add it in all the way around the inside of the pan. Now, to finish off this and to keep my decorative trim from fraying, I like to take a piece of tape and wrap it around my trim or rope before I cut it, and then I just add a little tiny bit of glue to the end and then just tap it down to where it will meet the other piece and just hold everything in place perfectly. We're going to make a quick and easy bow, and I'm going to be using ribbon that came from the Dollar Tree, and the two that's on the table came from Walmart. And I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue to the end and then just tapping very gently to keep it from seeping through too much. Don't burn your fingers. And it's just a simple way to make a bow. And I'm going to do that to all 3 strips. I've cut 3 tails to match each of the loops, and I'm just going to pinch it in the center, and then I'm going to use my Easy Bow Maker to just hold my ribbon in place as I'm layering it. Quick tip or trick to use if you have trouble holding multiple pieces of ribbon, which I do, and just making sure that everything's even, but I will go back and trim this up way too long. Anyway, I'm just going to do the exact same thing with the loop, pinch it in the center, but I'm going to crisscross it with the tail, and then I'll do the exact same thing with the red ribbon. Now, I do switch it up just a bit before I add the green and red ribbon. I thought it was just too much red. So I had some green mesh ribbon from the Dollar Tree left over from spring and summer, and I decided to add that in. I've just cut 2 tails. I'm just going to do the exact same thing, pinch it in the center, place it on top of the red loop, and then I'll come back and add my green and red ribbon on top of that. And then for the top, I'll add in 1 more tail of the green mesh ribbon, and then I'm going to take my last strip and then just kind of pinch it in the center and make a loop and just place that on the very top. And then I'll just cinch everything into place with my zip tie. And then you're going to want to fluff, fluff, fluff. And when you think you can't fluff no more, fluff your bow just a little bit more. And I did trim the tails down significantly, as you can tell. And I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue and pop it right into place. I love how they turned out. I think the over-the-top bow is just perfect, in my opinion anyway. I love big bows. But anyway, I love the bow and I love my sign. But as I was editing, I realized that I really did cover up some of the gold a little too much, and it just kind of washed out that tile and just kind of was blah. So I did go back in off camera, as you can see right here, and I added in some more of the gold, and I really concentrated around the snowman, the opening there, just to frame it, make it pop a little bit more. And I also popped in a gold bell, which is from the Dollar Tree, right in the center of that green mesh, just to break that up a little bit and to give it a little bit of extra bump in color. I left this as a shelf sitter. You can certainly hang it and make it a sign, which I will probably go back and do later. Not quite sure yet, but I'm loving it right now as a shelf sitter. But I love this. I would love to know what your thoughts are about this. Should I have just left it with the gold toned down, or do you like it with me adding in the gold again? Thank you for watching my video today. I hope you'll let me know which of the projects was your favorite. And if you've enjoyed my video, I hope you'll also give me a big thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. And if you're looking for more Christmas inspiration, I'll suggest this video right here on the screen. I'll see you soon.